Hello, it's Haley, and we're doing the shortened-ish version today because there is another severe weather threat, this time with significant tornadoes. But to maintain the flow that I normally do, we talk about earthquakes first. So, were there some? Of course there were. That's a stupid question. Strong earthquakes today. 6.3 out there in the Molucca Sea. I'm sure I screwed that up. Let's go to the USGS and see if anybody felt it, because sometimes you're surprised. Responses. So, MMI of 3. So, despite the fact there was a 6.3, the actual human impact not too great, because you remember the Turkey earthquake, the huge Turkey earthquake, rated like a 9. So 3, it's like a moderate, light shaking or something, no damage, I believe. So moving on. Here is where the red flag warnings are. That's fire. That's extreme fire danger. High wind warning. I can never remember the colors. Here is a color as well. Extreme fire danger. Okay, that's that one. The winter stuff. One of them's a winter weather advisory. The other one's a winter storm warning. And there's a wind advisory there. And probably there. That's probably what that shade is. Yeah. Or it could be lake wind advisory because it's like the same thing. So, you can see it's not the usual green for mid-November. There's actual stuff going on. So, slight risk in 2 different areas. Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, maybe a little bit of West Virginia and Kentucky, maybe a smidge of Missouri and Tennessee, but not Arkansas as far as I can tell. And then Texas. And then the specific probability of wind, 15%. 15% down there. Severe hail, which would be 1 inch larger, 5% chance, 5% chance. But the big thing, tornadoes. So, over in Texas, where we've got a slight risk because of the wind chance, the 15% wind chance, we only have a 2% chance of a tornado, and then a 2% chance of a tornado up here. But we have as high as a 10%. And if you've never seen this map before, you might not know that the hatching is the significant area. So, not only do we have in this 10% area a 10% chance of a tornado, which is very statistically significant, if I remember correctly, but there's an enhanced chance that it is going to be a EF2 or greater tornado. Goes from EF0 to EF5. So that EF2, that's a big boy. It was a big girl. I don't want to, be sexist with a tornado. Maybe a tornado's a woman. I have no idea. Anyway, so, seriously, pay attention. I pretended to read the thing. Let's find the instances of the word tornado. I believe it's supposed to be an afternoon threat, so as of now, there's nothing really going on out there. I mean, there's some precipitation and stuff, but nothing severe at the moment. So stuff like mean layer CAPE, I'm going to pretend like I know what that means. Convective available potential energy, 500 to 1,000 I don't think is huge. I believe that's kind of a measurement of how potentially explosive, upwardly explosive the atmosphere is. SRH is storm relative helicity. I think that's like the corkscrew motion, and I think 150 to 300 might be actually pretty supercell indicative. I'm going to pretend I know what I mean. And bulk shear, I think, is like the shearing as you go up in the atmosphere. And the thing is, if you have like no shear at all, the thing is just going to kill itself where it lays. So it needs to, if you want to storm, it needs to like kind of shear off so it's not like zapping its own energy. Yes, I'm pretending that I know what any of that means. But anyway, suggestive of supercells and bowing structures capable of tornadoes, some possibly strong. This is for the Ohio Valley region, damaging winds and hail, and I believe, yes. So, central Arkansas into eastern Oklahoma and northeastern Texas, hail and perhaps a tornado will exist with the strongest activity. So, the biggest chance though, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and maybe, no, it looks like that, 10% with a chance that it's going to be a significant tornado. Tomorrow, 15% chance, and I believe the word tornado shows up in this one as well. A tornado or 2 will also be possible. primarily from areas in the vicinity of the upper Texas coast eastward towards southeastern Mississippi. That is far too many acronyms. Or is it initialisms or abbreviations? I'm going to have to go look that up. I have no idea. Right. So, tomorrow, these are the risk areas. Now, when tomorrow becomes today, they break it down in the probabilities: hail, wind, and tornado. But, so that's how it's looking. And let's go ahead, and since there is actually something, whoops, for day 3, we pull up day 3's page as well. So that wasn't helpful, but this is 5% chance out there. So, Wednesday, there could be severe weather happening, and sometimes it gets downgraded, sometimes it gets upgraded, sometimes it just stays the same. So that's why we pay attention, because, you know, as we get closer to the actual event, the models, I don't know, if, you know, you got more data, it's more easy to predict. You know, it's very difficult to tell what's going to happen like 2 months from now, right? Very sketchy. But tomorrow, we know much more for certain. And when I say we, I mean they, because I have no idea. And in hurricane news, there is no news. No tropical cyclones at this time. Will we get another one? Or will the rest of the season just go out on a whimper? Is that an expression? I don't know. But maybe someone does know, but it's definitely not me. Anyway, you should totally go to Wicked Wix today because there's actually stuff going on. That's well, it's not going on yet, but this afternoon you better pay attention. Oh, by the way, you should go to Weather Radio if you are in an affected area. Affected, I believe, not affected. Anyway, because that's how you're going to get warnings. Immediate warnings, unless, of course, the power's off and you don't have a battery in it. Anyway, go to Weather Radio, go to weather.gov, and then, of course, go to Wicked Wix. WICKEDWX.com. Now, I hope you have a fantastic rest of the Monday. The case of the Mondays. I just totally botched that up. Anyway, take it easy.